back on the Prometheus stuff, one of the things that happened there was that the hologram on the table, that look was already developed at Look Effects. Look, I think now. Yeah. Animatic? I don't know, some Australian company. They had already come up with that, and they sent me, yeah, it was Look, for that particular thing. And they sent me the model, they sent me the artwork that they had produced, and they had 80 shots that they had for the temp screenings that had to be in there. So all of that stuff was defined, but they had set it up in V-Ray. They had set it up with these complex shaders of 50, 60 nodes that I had no idea what was going on. But I know how to go and tear something apart and put it back together. So that's why it was 15 layers, because I broke it all out into different passes. But I had to go and match what they looked like, what their look. It wasn't exact, but it was good enough where if Look had their stuff in the film already, it's a straight swap. So sometimes we have to go and make our stuff look like visual, like the finals. Yeah. And sometimes they work with us, or they work with our notes, and make our stuff look better. Question.
What major programs do you use besides Maya?
Maya, obviously. After Effects. Sometimes Premiere when we have to go and do edits. Photoshop, obviously, every single day. Sometimes we'll go into Nuke. It's going more and more in that direction, but it's still expensive, really expensive. What else?
Like with Synthise, which is a tracking software, but I mean that's more supervisor based. I mean, you look at Boujou, you look at PF Track, they're all kind of not the same. They all have their pros and cons, but like us at the studio, because MJ is very adamant of Synthise, and it's a great program. We've kind of throughout our studio, that's what we've inherited. But I've worked on shows where I've had to do Boujou, I've had to do PF Track, I've had to do, whatever it is, but it really is all based off of
studio.
But your best bet is it's Maya and it's After Effects. I mean, those are the two most important programs that you need to know.
Yes. Which is what we're learning here.
Yeah, which is awesome. And especially, I mean, the entire Adobe suite. And there's a lot of rumors of where Adobe is going to be moving forward, because there is a potential of them getting into the 3D as well, which if they inquire the company that they might, it very well be a great place for you guys with your connections of Adobe to learn some great new programs. But Photoshop is probably the must-know tool amongst any artist. If you know Photoshop, you can figure anything else out.
Good. Question on that.
In terms of like the type of knowledge that you would need, you're probably going to have like a lot of experience with like storyboarding, and probably some experience, obviously, like being able to use Maya. But how much just camera knowledge do you need to have in order to be able to do this kind of thing?
It is always very helpful to have more knowledge than not. I don't mean to be vague, but everybody kind of comes to previs and posters a different way. I came through visual effects. Some people come from school. Tef came from visual effects and teaching at Noman. There are some kids that come from storyboards, some that come from a garage. There's a lot of experiences that kind of come together. And having good people next to you. I might know a lot about tracking. He might know a lot about Nuke. He might know a lot about Photoshop. And he might be a great character animator. He might be a great environmental artist. All of those things come together, and everybody helps each other. So we all have to collaborate, share, and to excel, not just within our company, but within our business. Those interactions really make a difference. If you're a solo guy, you'll do it, but you won't necessarily excel.
Yeah, I mean, going off of that, I mean, like, just, yeah, sorry, real quick. My biggest thing when I was in school that terrified me was knowing everything. Like, I felt like I had to know anything to succeed. You still can. But the one thing I learned was you learn a lot once you get out there. And you want to know what? There are a lot of people that want to help you. And that's the greatest thing is that, and that's what you don't know now being here. You think it's scary out there that you have to know this in order to succeed. You don't. You have to be able to be confident to learn. And if you're confident to learn, there are going to be people out there willing to help you figure it out. And if you don't know a lot about cameras, you want to know what? That's fine. As long as you know what a camera is, and you know, do you know what focal length is? Well, yeah, that's okay. As long as you know the kind of, then when you get in there, you will learn. And the only dumb question is not asking a question. That is the one thing that when I teach is that I say is that you want to know what is the time that you think you're saving by trying to figure it out is going to be more time wasted when you finally come to me with your thought that you know the answer, and then me saying, no, that's wrong, and you're like, well, I wasted 6 hours on this looking at it. Well, why didn't you come 6 hours ago and just ask? Because I wouldn't be upset. I'm kind of annoyed now, but now that you come to me, let's learn together. And then that's the great thing. So just as students in general, it's not as scary out there. There are a lot of people who want to help you, especially in the workforce. You will get a lot of help, and you don't have to know everything going into it.
Yeah. And
Thank you.
Going off of what Tess said, and I tell this to every new artist that comes into my supervision, if you're spending more than 10 minutes spinning out of control, not knowing what's going on, and something's failing, and if you don't come to me after 10 minutes, you are wasting my time, and you are wasting the company's time, and you are wasting your time. You have to ask the questions.
I have a couple questions. How many people do you
How long have you been
employ?
waiting for this?
Yeah.
Sorry, go ahead.
How many people do you employ since you have these teams? Does it depend on the project?
Yeah.
Depends on the show?
It's all project-based. The largest team that I have personally supervised was on Tomorrowland, and that was only for a very short period of time, it was 15. But most of the time we have groups of 3 to 6 to 9. And 9 is a larger group. On Tomorrowland, they had 3 groups of
6.
Yeah, so they had.
I had like 18. I think it was total 18 was the highest, and then it came down to 2. Yeah, well, it was 3 groups of 4, and then we brought on a couple stragglers. But for the most part, it was the 18 was the biggest that we had at one point, but that was only for a week, and it was for just a big major push. Right now, I'm doing previs, post-vis, and finals on a film, and I have a team of 4, and with myself it's 5. So
Good work for your test.
yeah.
So you do not have to know a lot. It always occurred to me, because I come from 2D animation, it always occurred to me that in a lot of it, the storyboard artist really acts as a director, because they choose when to do a close-up and they choose the shots. So it seems to be that's what you do in the 3D world. That in a way, you act as a director.
Basically, storyboard artists were the tool for the director to figure out their story.
Mm-hmm.
And that is now still true. A lot of the main directors have their storyboard artists they go to. Brad had, 2 guys, Richard and
himself.
And Rodolfo were 2 of his main storyboard artists that he went with everywhere, and they got a lot of the main stuff. But once Brad saw what Previs could do, he used the storyboards for some of the more dramatic sequences, because that's the harder part. And for the action sequences, that's where the Previs came in. So, now Brad, and other directors are seeing where storyboards are still important, but storyboards and previs are both the director's tool.
Do you ever wish that you could get co-director credit, or does this make you want to direct?
No.
There are previous supervisors who want to direct.
Yeah, there are and there's some who wish that they got co-director, but at the same time, that's not an accurate job
Right,
description
right.
at all.
PGA won't allow it.
But it's not
Well,
just
it's
that,
not
it's
even that.
not even, it's just not the description of what we do.
Exactly.
Yeah, and it's just, it's kind of, I think it's an insult to the director. I mean, that's,
Yeah.
because that's not what we're doing here.
Probably
We're basically, we're giving him ideas. So we could, the one credit that may be possible would be, you know, story, you know, head of story or director of story,
Right.
or, you know, something along that line. But even then, I mean, most directors have storytelling
Right.
people who come in and help flush out the story.
It's almost like it's, on the scene just of previs and end titles, people just don't know what you guys do.
Well, I mean, this goes off to visual effects in general. I mean, we're after catering, you know?
Yeah.
I mean,
Well,
you know,
visual effects is after catering. What's really cool is that in previous, we're getting lumped in with art, which is before catering.
Oh.
Sometimes.